Up, everybody? Welcome back to J Fabe Wrestling. It's your boy Jay Deezy, and yeah, a lot of excitement right now in the WWE. As we all know, Triple H took over for Vince McMahon, and one of the big announcements Triple H made was the return of insert William Regal War Games, and should be very fun, very interesting, and what I like about what Triple H is doing is he's really paying homage to the history of wrestling, War Games back in the day in the 80s and the 90s. That was how you blow off you know blood rivalries with factions and major faces and heels. That's how they blow off their their rivalries. And I think it's a great idea from Vince, no, my bad, from Triple H. And yeah, I'm very excited for Survivor Series, and it got me thinking, actually, what if we had War Games, back then? So I'd say 2001, just because that's when Vince, he purchased WCW. So he's free to use the War Games concept. Now WCW doesn't exist. So I was just wondering, since 2001, what if there's a War Games match? And yeah, it really got me thinking. And then I used my creative juices, and I made a list of the War Game matches I would have. It's a lot of it is again based on what happened within that year. So I'm not really changing too much of history. And yeah, so let's get into it. Let's start with 2001. I think 2001 is a layup. You got the invasion storyline. So, you know, it's WWF versus obviously the Alliance. Why wouldn't they use, a WCW concept, War Games, to blow off their, the feud at Survivor Series? And that's what I would do. Obviously, I would play it a little bit different. Again, I'd say keep Austin face. Um, I'd actually have Jericho, the one who turned heel. Check out my rebooking Survivor Series 2001 video. I'm gonna put the link in the description. But yeah, I mean, look. So Team WWF versus Team Alliance or whatever. I'd have Rock, Austin, Kurt Angle, Undertaker, and Kane on Team WWF, and I'd have Chris Jericho, um, Booker T, Diamond Dallas Page, RVD, and I'll turn the Big Show into the Giant. So those are my five team members for each team, and yeah, you could do it two ways. If Vince wants to blow it off, have Team WWF win, but if you're following how I would book the invasion, I would actually have the Alliance win thanks to Ric Flair. I'd have him debut a night earlier. Pretty cool concept too that Ric Flair. He was one of the main players in War Games in the '80s. So yeah, that's how I'm doing. I think it just makes sense if you really wanna blow off the feud. War Games is a perfect way, and they kind of had like that tag match at Alliance at no Invasion, the actual pay per view, the Invasion. They had that tag match, and yeah, so let's switch it up for Survivor Series, make it more, show how personal this is between the WWF and the Alliance. All right, guys. Now we got 2002. I think my power went off because the lights shut. Undertaker's coming, but let's get into 2002. I'd have Armageddon 2002. I'd do Shawn, Booker, Kane, and RVD versus Triple H, Ric Flair, Chris Jericho, and Christian. So um, I guess here we'd have the Elimination Chamber happens. Shawn's the world champion. I'd save the rematch, Shawn and Triple H, for Royal Rumble. No need for the Scott Steiner match. Kills two birds with one stone. And Triple H, Ric Flair. Obviously, he screwed Kane and RVD. Triple H and Ric Flair were feuding with both of them, so it makes sense to have them team with Shawn. And then Jericho, he's beginning to have problems with Shawn as well. And yeah, he was also in the chamber match, so and then his buddy Christian will tag along, and then also Booker T. This is where you could kind of start building Booker T. You could have Chris Jericho and Christian attack Goldust, so that's why Booker's inserted into this match. And yeah, you got I think it'll be a good match, and I'd actually have Booker T get the win, especially if you're trying to build towards Triple H Booker. Have Booker get the win, slowly build momentum, and yeah, they can talk about this again at WrestleMania. How Booker, he pinned Triple H in the War Games match. Or you could do it another way where Shawn, he pinched Jericho, and that's kind of what Jericho builds the feud. So you could go either way. I think it'd be fun though. Next we got 2003. I got Goldberg, Shawn, RVD, and Booker T versus Evolution, Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, and Ric Flair. Um, yeah. So again, Evolution. I was just thinking, like Evolution would definitely benefit from if War Games was used because they were, the hottest faction for at least 3 years, right? So, yeah. So you have Goldberg, continue his feud with Triple H. You got Shawn continue his feud with Randy, and then you got Booker T and RVD. They kind of became a team later in the year. And I'd have them become a team now, and then obviously Ric Flair and Batista. They also became a tag team. So it makes sense. You got a lot of different storylines here where go obviously Goldberg was getting screwed by Evolution. Shawn's history with Evolution as well. And then even Booker T, he had history with Evolution, and also even RVD. He kind of got screwed at Unforgiven by Ric Flair, so they all kind of got issues. And I actually had give Goldberg the win. He could pin like Rick. Nah, he could pin like Randy or something or Batista. Um, yeah, and then I'd save the Goldberg Triple H rematch at the Royal Rumble rather than have Goldberg Shawn. I'd have Goldberg and Triple H the Rumble, and that's where Triple H can regain his belt, and then you can go into WrestleMania 20 as a champion. So yeah, all right. Next we got 2004. We got another Evolution match. Wow, not what a surprise! It's Chris Benoit, Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho, and Edge versus. Sorry, Edge was injured, right? Yeah, yeah. And Shelton Benjamin, my bad. He returned the next night on Raw. I'd have him return um, at the pay per view. Why not? Against obviously Evolution, Triple H, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Batista. So again, you have Randy defeat Benoit. So Randy, he has Benoit still has issues. I'd have Shawn return. I wouldn't do that, Kane attacking him. To me, that didn't really make sense. Shawn returns after having to sell. He wants to kind of even the score with Triple H. And then, yeah, you had Jericho and Edge, who obviously fought Batista in the uh, triple threat match at SummerSlam. So they got, and Ric Flair, he's always helping out Batista. So they got kind of issues with Flair and Batista. But, Edge is kind of, becoming heel. He's kind of pissed. Him and Jericho are kind of getting into it, and then you know, when they find out he's injured, I have like Evolution attack him and Benoit, Jericho, and what's his name? Benoit, Jericho, and who's the third guy? Shawn. Yeah, my bad, Shawn. Because I keep forgetting that he returned. Um, they could say we got a surprise team, and then that's when Shelton makes his return. And yeah, I think it'll be a fun match. Who would I give the win? I'd actually give Evolution the win this time. I know they lost last year, so I'd give them the win this time. I actually have like Triple H at the pedigree, and Randy would like steal the win from him, and build tension between Triple H and Randy. I wouldn't turn Randy face. I wouldn't have Evolution turn on him. You could do that down the line. So continue to have Randy as a heel, and he kind of steals Triple H's pin. Kind of builds tension between Evolution, but finally gives them a win in War Games, which is well deserved. All right, 2005, we got finally I gave SmackDown a War Games match. It'll be at No Way Out. It'll be yeah, John Cena. Who else is on here? The Big Show, Booker T, Eddie Guerrero, and Rey Mysterio. So we got five people this time versus JBL, Kurt Angle, Luther Reigns, and the Basham Brothers. Yeah, I think this would be good. Um, Obviously JBL's cabinet was running roughshod, through SmackDown. So, and him and Kurt Angle, they're obviously feuding with the Big Show. So, their factions, him and like Team Angle 2.0, are constantly attacking Big Show. So that's why you got Big Show in the match. And then, yeah, the Bashams, they started feuding with Eddie and Ray for the tag titles. So, and then also they both, Eddie especially has history with both Angle and JBL. Obviously Angle, he cost him the title um, against JBL, and JBL obviously had a real personal feud with him. Like they had the heart attack with his mom, which was pretty crazy. And JBL was like a part of that, obviously, you know, not intentional, but yeah, it happened. And yeah, Cena, I'd have him beat Kurt Angle in the tournament to become number one contender. I wouldn't have that on the pay per view. I just have that on the SmackDown or something, and then kind of builds up their feud between Cena and JBL, and also Kurt Angle still has history with JBL as well. No, Cena, my man. Kurt Angle has history with Cena. He cost him the U.S. title and all that, and then you have Booker T also on the face team. He obviously has history with JBL, and he got screwed at Survivor Series and all that. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun 5-on-5 match. I'd give. Ooh, that's tough. I'd actually give JBL the win just so he kind of builds more heat into WrestleMania. I'd have him pin like Booker or something with a clothesline from hell. Yeah, just give the cabinet and JBL, even Kurt Angle, momentum going into WrestleMania because they obviously had big matches. And yeah, finally SmackDown gets on the board, and they stay on the board with War Games. We got in No Mercy 2006, have Batista, Bobby Lashley, Rey Mysterio, and a returning Chris Benoit versus King Booker, Finley, William Regal, and Dave Taylor, who I'd call the Royal Court. Obviously, you got Batista getting screwed at SummerSlam, so he has issues with the King Booker's court. And then Rey Mysterio also, he kind of got screwed at SummerSlam. Although it was by Chavo, he kind of wants revenge. He's also friends with Batista, so. And then you have Bobby Lashley. He was feuding with Finley for the U.S. Championship, and he also like lost the King of the Ring finals to Booker T. So there's some history there. And you got Chris Benoit returning. He obviously had a pretty good feud with Booker T for the U.S. Championship. He also fought Finley at Judgment Day. So, and then got the Royal Court. Obviously, King Booker. He's been doing amazing work, and yeah, he feuded with all four of these guys, and then he got his backup to fighting War Games. This is where I give Batista the win because it obviously will build to Survivor Series where Batista will get the World Heavyweight Championship back, and yeah, it should be a fun match. Then in 2007, we stay on SmackDown. Yes, we stay on SmackDown. SmackDown's getting more War Games matches. It'll be at Armageddon. It'll be Batista, Undertaker. Who else? Rey Mysterio, and who's the last guy? Kane. So yeah, versus Edge, um, Chavo, King. No, not King Booker. The Great Khali and Mark Henry. So again, we all know Batista. He had history with both Khali and Mark Henry. Um, he again defeated Khali for the title and all that. Then we have Taker again. He also had history with Mark Henry and Khali. He fought Mark Henry, I believe, at Unforgiven when he returned. And then they both have history with Edge because Edge, he interfered in the Hell in a Cell match. And what else? Kane, he has history with Edge because Kane, kayfabe wise, um, he was the one who injured Edge to get him to vacate the belt. And Kane also has history with Khali at uh, WrestleMania, so kind of goes back there. And then obviously Ray and Chavo, they got history. They fought at SummerSlam, and then also Edge. This is when he became the La Familia. Him and Chavo were basically buddies now because Edge was dating Vicky Guerrero, so and then obviously Rey Mysterio had issue with that. They would continue that at the Royal Rumble. So yeah, a lot of moving parts here, and I'd save Edge's world title win until the Royal Rumble because I know he beat Taker and Batista on the show, but I'll just have Edge defeat Batista at the Royal Rumble, and yeah. I was thinking, would I want to put the Edge heads, instead of Khali and Mark Henry, but I just feel like they're not that credible enough to face a team of Batista, Ray, Taker, and Kane. So that's why I just put Khali and Mark Henry in there. Plus, they got history, and Edge, Vicky runs the show, so they obviously have the power to get these monsters on their teams. So makes sense. And who would win? Hmm. I'd have Undertaker win because he kind of got screwed at Survivor Series, so he'll kind of get the pin on probably not Edge to keep him strong. He'll get the pin on. I was thinking Chavo, but that's kind of too easy. He'll get the pin on like Kali, maybe. Finally put that to bed. Especially because how Kali squashed him a year earlier. So at least Taker finally gets his pay-per-view pin on Kali, and yeah. And then we got 2008. I'd have it at the same thing, Armageddon. This time we got Batista, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, and CM Punk versus Legacy of Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and Manu. I don't know if you guys remember Manu. He's also part of the Samoan bloodline. He joined Legacy briefly, and yeah, kind of play off again. Team Batista versus Team Randy. That happened at Survivor Series, and then yeah, CM Punk and Kofi, they're kind of also teaming up around this time. So I'd have them feud with Legacy for the tag titles, and yeah, Ray and obviously Batista, they have a friendship there. So Manu could attack Batista, and Ray could come out to save him. So yeah, I think it'll be a good match. I'd actually give Legacy the win because considering how hot they were, and Randy was gonna eventually win the Rumble. I think Legacy, they definitely deserve the win. And yeah,
All right, guys, you could probably see I got a different shirt on. I actually forgot 2009, but just doing a quick add-on. So 2009, I'd have it at bragging rights, and I'd have Team Raw, DX, and Legacy versus Team SmackDown, the Brothers of Destruction, and Jericho. So again, plays off the Raw and SmackDown theme at bragging rights. DX and Legacy, they were feuding over the summer, and also Brothers of Destruction and Jericho, they were kind of having matches there and there at Survivor Series. It can help lead to that triple threat match that happened, and yeah, obviously it plays off the history between Shawn and Taker. I would actually have uh, Jericho kind of mess up. Um, they accidentally hit the Undertaker, and then he'll walk into the sweet chin music. So Shawn kind of evens up the score. He kind of gets his revenge for WrestleMania. But obviously for Shawn, it's not enough. He wants a one-on-one victory. So that's what happens at WrestleMania. So yeah, I think it'll be a good match. You got 8 pretty much legends. Well, Ted DiBiase Jr. He was alright as well. But yeah, good face heel dynamic where faces got to team up with heels, and yeah, it sticks to the Raw and SmackDown theme.
Then we got 2010 Survivor Series again. Team Raw, Cena, Sheamus, Randy, R-Truth, and John Morrison versus Team Nexus, Wade Barrett, Daniel Bryan. Yes, I kept Daniel Bryan on Nexus. Watch my SummerSlam 2010 rebooking. I also put in the description. Um, David Otunga, Justin Gabriel, and Heath Slater. So obviously, I'd have um, booked things differently. I'd have Nexus win at SummerSlam. Um, I'd have Daniel Bryan turn on Cena and say he's still on Team Nexus and all that. So again, yeah, Nexus could be running roughshod. Personally, I would have had Wade Barrett win the title and all that. So um, yeah, and then we have obviously Cena. Sheamus is on the team. Sheamus and Randy were feuding for the title. Obviously, Sheamus defeated Cena, just last year. So there's kind of like tension. Can they trust Sheamus? And then there's also tension on Nexus side because Daniel Bryan he's becoming real popular, and obviously Wade Barrett's not wanting to share the spotlight, so there's a little bit of tension there. Um, yeah, so I think good match. I'd actually have um, yeah, I'd have Cena win because they in my timeline they'd win at Survivor Series. They I mean Nexus would win at SummerSlam, so it's about time. Cena kind of gets his redemption. I'll give his team the win, and then this is actually where I'd have Miz cash in. Barrett be all bloody and beaten, and that's when I have the Miz kind of cash in after War Games, which I think would be a fun moment as well. All right, now we're getting into 2011. I'd keep it again at Survivor Series. Why not? CM Punk, Triple H, The Rock, and John Cena versus Alberto Del Rio, Kevin Nash, and Awesome Truth. So basically, we're keeping all this the same. You got Rock and Cena feud with Awesome Truth. Keep that on there. Obviously, CM Punk and Del Rio. Keep that on there. Triple H and um, Kevin Nash. Obviously, they fought at TLC, but might as well have Kevin Nash on Survivor Series. I don't know if he wasn't healthy or not, but yeah, that's how I'd have it. And yeah, I think it'd be fun, especially if you look at obviously Awesome Truth also feuded with Punk and Triple H. I believe it was at Vengeance. So yeah, and they also cost CM Punk and Cena the titles at Hell in a Cell. So there's that thing there. Del Rio, he obviously he beat Cena for the belt and Punk. So there's history there. Um, what else? Yeah, and then obviously Kevin Nash cost CM Punk, so there's history and giving Alberto the win, so there's history there as well. And then even like the tension on the team, especially the face side. Obviously, you got Cena and Rock teaming up before their big match. We got Punk and Triple H, who had a match at Night of Champions. Obviously, Punk should have won. I'd have Punk win that match, and they'd have tension from that. And then even Punk and Cena, they still got tension from Money in the Bank, and even Cena and Triple H, they have tension because Triple H didn't see Cena's foot on the rope. Wow, even Punk and Rock, they have tension because Punk mentioned Dwayne in his pipe bomb. This is hilarious how every member of these teams have and then problems with each other. And then even Rock and obviously Triple H, they got tension from like back then. So that's pretty hilarious how they all don't like each other. So even the super team, they got tension. So hey, they might lose and all that. But yeah, no, I'd give the face team the win. Rock and pin whatever. R Truth, I believe R Truth was getting suspended anyways the next night because obviously the Miz turned on him. And then, yeah, you could have the same thing where Miz gets mad and turns on him. But yeah, Rock gets his win first time back in how long? 7 years. Well deserved. Should be fun.